Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Chesapeake, Newport News, Williamsburg, Portsmouth,
and all over the planet, really.
our 7 cities, and North Carolina. I'm going to say hi to North Carolina because we're going to talk about stuff today.
Welcome to Unanswered. I'm Jimmy Ray,
And I'm Thomasina.
and we're so glad you're here because we've got some stuff to talk about today.
We do have some stuff, important stuff.
Absolutely.
We always have important stuff, but this is like really, really important. I think.
Well, and she is so good at the technical aspects of this whole business, and that's why I love her so much and love working with her. For me, more of on a practical side of actual day-to-day real estate transactions. That's where I'm kind of leaning with this thing. So, listen, if you have any questions or ideas, please make sure you send them to us. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll feed off of that and make that part of the program because that's unanswered. We want to answer the question.
And we do have a question today, right?
Well, one of the questions was, what's most important in picking out a real estate agent? When you're interviewing agents and you want to know, is this the right person for me? Of course, it seems like everybody and their mother is either related to an agent or knows an agent. Is that always the best way to go?
No.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes if it's a
No.
family member, it might not be because there are conversations that an agent has to have with the seller or the buyer. That could get dicey if it's a personal relationship thing. Of course, on the other side of that, they have your interest. There's no doubt they have your best interest at heart. But if you do your due diligence with an agent, you're going to know the ones that do and the ones that maybe don't.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always say you can still make sure that your friend, your family member is taken care of. It just gets a little convoluted
Right.
whenever you bring family or friends into business. And as much as I would love to tell you that this transaction is not business, it is business. It's complete business for your family and for your future. And it gets a little crazy. So what you can do is get them all through and make sure that your friend or family member is taken care of, and they'll get a piece of that, and they don't have to do anything except for refer you to us. Me personally, I don't handle any business with my family whatsoever, so I don't actually handle any deals. I give those all to my agents and then I help them.
Yeah.
But I don't handle any business with my family, and I didn't do that even when I was practicing full time because of what I just said. It gets convoluted. So I would refer them to Jimmy Ray or whoever my agent was and say, hey, this is a great agent. Take care of them for me. And by the way, whenever I talk to my family, I go, hey, listen, you need to speak to your agent. And your agent will come and get me if they need to. So I don't really have that conversation because it gets crazy.
Yeah, and the original question was, what's the most important thing about hiring an agent, right? And so when you're talking to agents, for me, the most important thing is there are several different aspects to being a great agent. But one is, this is about business, but it's about a relationship with you, the customer, but also with potential agents I'm going to be dealing with concerning your real estate business. So
absolutely,
that is a very important factor when you're talking to a possible agent you might be thinking of hiring or interviewing. How are they with relationships? How are they with establishing and knowing how to manage relationships? Because this whole transaction is about relationships with your vendors, with the other agent, with the, different people in the transaction. So that's key for me.
yeah.
But also having a proven track record of knowing how to get you through this transaction with the least amount of drama, because every transaction is going to have some kind of drama.
Absolutely. And how the agent handles that drama when it comes up is really key.
And there are a lot of times where that agent, your agent, can prevent that drama by having been there before many times and knowing what to look for and just preventing it by taking actions differently this time around. Whereas some agents with less experience may not know that route yet.
Yeah.
And so, that's important. So, personality is important in this business, but also being able to take care of your business is primary. So, and when you're interviewing somebody to do your real estate work, it's important that you walk away from that interview feeling like, well, first off, I love their personality, their point of view, how they take care of relationships, but also they have a track record of handling things. And they should offer you people to call and ask about their service as well, if you're concerned. Can I call somebody and get a reference from you and just give me seven or eight names and let me call somebody? That's a good way to find out as well, because those folks have already been down the road with this agent and they can tell you how they did.
And the biggest thing for me is that they don't have a bad reputation. And you're not going to know that until you actually start to ask and look around. So don't just take the first person you know or the neighbor that you know. I mean, I hate to say that, but don't, because you need to figure out what type of reputation this agent has, because there's some agents that just don't have a great reputation out there that have been around for a while, unfortunately.
Yeah, and there's nothing worse as an agent than dealing with another agent on a transaction that just isn't willing to give a little bit, maybe on their commission or whatever, to make a deal work.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's what's required, and there are agents that I'll just take my buyer somewhere else.
Yeah, there are, and unfortunately, which they shouldn't do. They
Yeah,
shouldn't do.
no, because again, let's go very back to the beginning. It's about your business. It's your best interest. And that is selling your home or finding a home and saving you the most money in the process. And if that's not primary in your agent's view, you got the wrong agent.
And getting you the most money. So it's it's definitely the bottom line, which all of our agents will give you the bottom line number. If you use any of them, they're trained for that. But if not, if you're not using one of our agents, you're out there and you're not near us, please always ask for that bottom line during your interview process. And I always say interview 3 agents. Always interview 3 agents. And I even say, even if you're dead set, you're going with my firm, interview 3 agents. It's really good for you to see the perspective and the different personalities to see what you can work with.
Yeah. Well, and that's right. It'll give you an ABC comparative to go on, and you'll be able to make a more informed choice.
Yeah.
Things like
And I
that.
do that with everything. Even I get 3 quotes.
Yeah. And I always like to be the last agent you interview.
That's funny. I like to be the first.
That's funny. I like to be the last one in the door because that way I can address any concerns or whatever that she or he may have developed in the previous interview. I always like to be the
Yeah,
last
I
one.
like to be the first because I feel like no one else can beat me.
Big impression. You make the initial impression. That's smart, I guess.
Yeah, and then I let them know, "Hey, listen, if you have any questions throughout with the next few people, please give me a call even if you don't wanna go with me. I'm happy to help you through this process and give you the knowledge that you need if you do wanna go with somebody else." And they always call.
Because that seems so selfless of you to do that, though. I mean,
Yeah,
if you're saying, "Listen, if you don't go with me, I'll still be glad to,
yeah, absolutely.
assist you in the process." So that's what we're all about, is helping you guys.
Don't be the middle person, that's what I hear. Don't be the second one in the
Of
door.
course.
Even in children, I'm like, don't have 3, have 4. You don't want the middle child. Statistically, the middle child has the
Well,
worst problems.
okay. Well, I am the middle child. I'm the middle of 5 boys. So I maybe broke the record, broke the mold on that one.
5 boys. Wow.
I know. My mother was a saint.
Yeah, she had to
Um,
be.
but
She
anyway,
had to
so
be.
picking an agent is important, and
Yes,
you know, the personality and the business acumen of that agent is prime.
absolutely. So I'm also going to talk today about some radon.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Jimmy
So
Radon.
Jimmy Radon. I'm going to talk about radon. North Carolina, if you are out there and you are tuning in, radon is something that has to be done on each home, an inspection. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, yeah. And so it's really important. So things that people may not know about radon. One, it can be remediated. So you can remediate it. And two, you can actually get a kit from the store. Yep. Yep. You can get a kit from the store and actually detect it.
DIY kit for
Yeah, you
radon?
did. It's right
Really?
next to the DNA. And no, I'm kidding. But you can get one. Um, radon is when the earth moves and these gases come up. And if you're looking at a condo, just because one has radon doesn't mean the other one does, which is kind of crazy. So there was this one in North Carolina where the seventh floor had radon, but nobody else did.
You are kidding me right now.
No, the seventh floor.
How does that even work?
I know it's kind of crazy, but you can remediate it, and you can make sure it's a really ugly PVC pipe that kind of goes up the outside of the house, comes in and goes up the outside of the house. So if you're doing new construction, you're going to want to just put that in there as opposed to
So,
afterwards,
so
but
your home
because they can
inspector
kind of
can
hide it.
test for this radon when they inspect the home
Yeah.
and
So
tell you what the levels.
yeah, it's really important. It's the number 2 cause of lung cancer in the world.
Oh,
So besides smoking, radon is the number 2 cause of lung cancer. That's why it's so important. I don't think a
insane.
lot of people know that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and I really don't think a lot of people do. So it's really important. And if the levels are 4 or above, you need to remediate. So I'm saying this to you because you don't have to be in a real estate transaction to test. You can actually get the test and test it yourself. I think everybody should. It's super, super important. There's been, like I said, even if you're in a condo that maybe your neighbor's already tested and you're like, okay, we should be good.
Yeah.
No, go and get it tested. It's really important. It is really ugly, that PVC pipe going up the outside, but hey, it's worth it. It's not that expensive, but I tell my agents not to say that because every case is different. The average is between 15 to $1,800, but and again, that's relative. I mean, that could be expensive to some people or not, but I've seen them like 3,500, $5,000 too. So, but the average is around there, but it's colorless, it's odorless. Like you're not going to be able to tell unless
Well,
you
so
test.
but I mean, and if you find this out during your home inspection, buying a property, and you
Mhm.
find out it has a radon issue, that could be worked into the PICRA, into the list of here's what I want you to fix.
Yeah, and there's a due diligence period in North Carolina with all of that, but it's really important. Now, there is a big um saying in North Carolina that everybody has radon, and it's just not true. But there is a lot of it there. Like, and some people are like, "Well, how come Virginia? It's not a big deal in Virginia." Well, they
Right.
just don't have that law where you need to have it tested. And a lot of people were like, "Why does John next door have it and I don't?" Well, that's just where the radon stopped. I mean, there's no
That's
answer.
crazy, isn't
There's
it?
no answer to it. Like, there's nothing about your house. It's just the earth moved more over there and it's going over there as
Wow.
opposed to over here. But it doesn't mean that you don't need a test. Like, it's super important to test.
That is something that nobody thinks about. So
No.
good on you bringing
Yeah,
that up.
yeah, yeah. It was part of a training that I did a while back. And I got all this information on it and I did some research. And the more I researched, I was just like, wow. Number 3 cause of lung cancer is secondhand smoke.
Wow.
So smoking, radon, and then secondhand smoke.
Yeah, I grew up in a house.
Same.
My dad smoked big time.
Yeah, my whole family. I'm the only person in my family that didn't smoke.
Yeah, it never made sense to me, but let's not get into the weeds. Yeah.
It's
But anyway,
okay. I mean,
but
it's just
yeah,
where we lived and in the time we
right,
lived in. But
right.
yeah, but it's the third.
But that's craziness, though. I mean, I have never heard that about radon.
Yeah, Google it.
I certainly no, I trust you.
I'm older than Google.
I, all
Mhm.
right. Oh well then, and I'm older than both of them. So yeah, there's that. Well, so I wanted to also touch on because I had a little episode at my house with a home
Mhm.
warranty.
Oh yeah. Hey, home warranty doesn't cover radon.
Yeah,
FYI.
no.
That's it
Um,
covers a lot of things, but nothing like that.
and I will say that I'll preface this section by saying, I've had home warranties on my houses forever that I bought them, and I've had 6 or 7 houses in my life.
Same.
And so I think it's a smart thing to do, especially if you're young and you don't have a ton of cash.
Yeah.
But even if you're not, it's
Especially that first year.
yeah, yeah, it
That
is
first year.
smart. But I mean, I've had them my whole career of owning a home, and they have paid off at times. One time I had a refrigerator, and the ice bucket goes in, and there's a little piece of plastic on the liner of the fridge.
Ice bucket, huh?
Yeah, it's an
Ice
ice
bucket.
where the ice is
Yeah, the
in
ice
the
bucket.
bucket,
That
and
ages
it
you.
slips in, and there's a little lock that clips onto this little piece of plastic
Uh-huh.
on the liner,
Mhm.
and that piece broke off. That little piece of plastic broke off so that the bucket could no longer stay in when you push the door. Ice, give me
So then you
ice.
have no more ice.
It's and it pushes the bucket out a little
Yep.
because it's nothing to grab onto. So I call my insurance company. They come out. "Hmm, we can't fix that. It's part of the
Homeowners
liner."
insurance.
No, no, the home warranty.
Home warranty,
Home
not
warranty.
insurance. Home
Home warranty
warranty. We'll go
insurance.
over the difference in that in a second.
And that little piece of plastic had popped up. They could not replace that unless they replaced the liner of the fridge. So they replaced the refrigerator. So yeah,
Oh.
no, that warranty paid off in spades.
Wow. Did they take the fridge when they replaced it?
No,
So it's in your garage.
no, I sold it for $600 to a new guy who
He's
just
not
bought a house,
stupid. He's
and
not
and he
stupid.
knew, and we bought an upgraded refrigerator.
Nice.
But so listen, so that worked out well. But the point I'm making here now is since then, this episode I had a couple weeks back with a different insurance company, home warranty,
Home warranty.
um, is the um, motherboard of my fridge
Oh.
went out.
Oh.
Okay, motherboard went out. All the power, not doing anything but sitting there looking great.
Oh my.
Call the company. They come out. They analyze it. Yep, it's the motherboard. A week later, the motherboard comes in. Meanwhile, I've had to buy a mini fridge at Sam's Club for $200. Uh, to hold us over. He comes out and says, "Oh, by the way, they're not paying for the labor to put it in.
They're just paying for the part?
They bought the part, but you've got to pay for it to put it in." I already give him my $75 deductible, and now I've got to pay on
Wow.
top of that. And so I looked into the fine print, and yeah, it's right there. That part, for
But just
some
that part,
reason,
not other, just that part,
well,
the
there
motherboard.
are other things too, but no, the motherboard is paid for, and it took a guy 5 minutes to put it in, and it's working.
Okay.
$125 more on top of the 75 I already paid. My point being that when you're looking into a home warranty, read the fine print because there are exceptions to things. Another thing I found out too in searching for a different home warranty company that I'm going to switch to is it's important. What kind of maintenance do you have to keep up on things for them to cover it when it does go
Yeah.
south? So, like water heaters,
HVAC.
my current water heater coverage says you got to flush it twice a year.
Hmm.
Who does that?
I do, but only because I've
Didn't
had
know
two
that.
two water heaters that have actually leaked. So I
Well, I
actually
had one explode in my attic
do it
like
once a
10
quarter.
years ago.
Yeah, once a quarter.
Um,
It's
but
super easy too.
but there's that. Okay. HVAC you have to get serviced, well, at least once a year. So there are things like that you really need to be aware of, to look for. Ask the agent, do I need to do any maintenance? Do I have to document it in order for you to cover it if it blows up?
And there's limits. All home warranties have limits. So let's say that you're like, okay, I'm getting this home warranty to get my HVAC replaced if something goes wrong, or my hot water or water tank,
Yeah.
not hot water. It's a water tank that makes the water. It's a big thing for me. It's a big thing. It's a water tank,
This is
West
what makes
Virginia.
her
West
great.
Virginia, it is a water tank, not a water tank. I can say that because I am from that state. So it's a water tank. But there's limits. So the HVAC sometimes there's a $2,000 limit, $1,500 limit. That's all they'll pay for, and then you pay for the rest. Now that's still nice to have that, but read what the limits are. And if you don't want to read them, ask a lot of questions
Yeah.
to your
Yeah.
representative or the person on the phone.
Because once you get into it and you pay them the money, that's it.
Yep.
That's your warranty. So
Plus
it's
the
just,
monthly that you're paying.
and I told this guy on the phone, I said, listen, when they send you an end user agreement for your phone or your computer upgrade or whatever, do you read the fine print? Of course not. But in this case, it's probably a really good idea to look through the brochure. It's maybe 20 pages tops, but it's well worth it, especially on the major items.
Yeah. And if you have a good agent, they're going to tell you this and they're going to go through it with you and they're going to help you to know. And they're going to have some really good home warranty companies in their back pocket.
Yeah.
Jimmy Ray's doing research right now,
Yeah.
sounds like.
Yeah. And all the personal experiences you heard, I've been through really kind of makes me hyper aware as well. So when
Mhm.
picking an agent, that kind of stuff matters.
Yeah. And there are some companies that allow you to pick the person to come out and do the work. Other companies, they have a list of people to come out and do the
Yeah.
work. But I will tell you this either way, if you're with a home warranty company that has a list of people to come out and do the work, again, ask them if you can actually interview more than one. I've actually had them come out before, and one person, like, he didn't show up 3 times. And I was like, "Can we have somebody else? Like, this is crazy." And they did give it to me. They said, "Oh, you could have asked that the first time." Well, I didn't know because I mean, this was years ago, but I didn't know. I thought whatever they sent out is what I had to have. Like,
Yeah.
that's my choice. And he's like, "Nope. If he didn't show up, you could have asked for somebody else." So if people are late or they're not showing up or you just don't have a good vibe about them, also do your research. In Virginia, you can go to Depot. Do your research on the companies that are coming out. See if they have anything bad in their history there. Make sure they are licensed. The warranty company usually backs that up, but just make sure. You just never know.
Yeah. And when the water heater that blew up in my attic 10 years ago,
Hmm.
when that happened, uh, it was I had to get our broker at the time to call the local regional manager of that company just to get him to act on this thing in real time because there are issues like water heaters or refrigerators, oxygen. If you're a sick person and things go
Yeah.
south and you need that to be working, there's emergency situations. That's another question. What happens if these things go down? How long am I looking at standing around with my nose in the air? Waiting for this to be fixed.
Yeah, and do they have a replacement? So, like where he had to pay $200 for a refrigerator, he didn't get reimbursed for that. That was the first thing I asked him. I was like, "Did you get reimbursed for that?" Because companies in the past that I have had, if I had to go buy like a standalone
Mm,
AC or whatever the case may be, they reimbursed me up to a certain amount.
yeah,
But he didn't get reimbursed on this one, so he was out the $200 for that too.
yeah. Because you got to keep the milk cold, right?
Yeah, and like you said, there's some people that medical situations they have to have the refrigerator to keep their
Right, for
medicine
the
cold. Like
medicines.
it's emergency situations.
Absolutely, and at the price of eggs, you don't want them going bad either.
No,
Just
you
saying.
don't. Although I have chickens,
Well,
so.
they've come down. Anybody surprised? She has chickens.
I'd have goats too if I could. Don't get one goat. You have to have two. Word of advice today.
Well, goats get lonely too.
They do.
Just saying.
You have to have two goats. And it's goat math. You end up with six when you
Yes.
go to get two.
This is way too much math too early in the morning for me. This is all good information though, girl.
Right? We've had a great
Wow.
morning of information. We don't have a ton of time left, but I do want to go over the process. So we did kind of talk about, when you're listing your home, what to look for and the people coming in, when you're buying your home, what to look for and the people coming in and the agents and everything. What about when you're looking at a home? Like, what do you feel is the first thing that they need to do with their own research on their side before they start looking? Like, they send you like 50 homes, right? So, what can they do to narrow that down?
Well, there's lots of different criteria, one of which is what style of home, what
Mhm.
location. That kind of helps to
Location's
narrow it down.
huge.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
A actually.
Don't say
Location is
anywhere in Virginia Beach because it's not true.
yeah, no,
Because
no.
when you start looking, it's really not anywhere in Virginia Beach that you mean.
Yeah, no, it is not.
No.
So location is key. Style of home, if that's important to you. A lot of folks, getting older in years, do not want stairs, so they'll
Right.
need a ranch. So there's certain neighborhoods that are ranch,
Mhm.
centric. So that's important stuff. But also, I always try to when I'm listing a property, I like to make it woman friendly because for me, when a couple walks in the door, the ladies are generally going to be much more particular, and so they want clean, updated, all the usual stuff. So all that's important. And when we go and look at a house, that's what my clients always want to see. Clean, smells good. There's no issues health wise for their family. I
Yeah.
think that's key.
And I definitely think whenever you're looking in the areas, look and see what's around there. What do you like to do? Are you social? Do you want to go out a lot? Do you like to go to different restaurants frequently?
Yeah.
Look and see what's around you because you tend to just kind of migrate towards what's closest to you. And if it's not anything that you like, you're now traveling farther to go places, and you were like, "Oh, I wish I would have went over here." But I definitely say look and see what's around you.
Yeah.
If you have children with activities, see what's close there for that as well. If you have parents who are going to be living with you, take that into consideration as well,
Yeah.
and not just the stairs inside, stairs outside. And it doesn't mean that you don't look at homes with stairs. It just means can a ramp be built?
Yeah. And actually, I have a house coming on the market this week that has a ramp on the front
Well,
porch.
there we go.
Yeah. It's just a small little ramp.
That's okay.
Uh,
It works, right?
yeah. Oh, it works great. It's perfect. And
Yeah.
that's going on the market Thursday, by the way.
Oh, okay. Sounds
Just letting
good.
everybody know.
Good.
And right in the middle of Virginia Beach where everything cool is. A lot of fun.
All right. Well, we are at time. That was a great session with a lot of information.
Phew, just keep on spitting it out. That's what we
And
do here.
definitely keep sending us your questions because we love to answer them on here.
Yeah, that's unanswered.
It sure
And
is.
if I don't know, if I get a question like in the middle of the week, we'll find it out and put it on the
Oh
next
yeah,
podcast.
absolutely. Absolutely. And if it's not on the next one, it'll be on the next one. So within two episodes, you'll definitely have all of your questions that are unanswered answered by us.
Love that.
All right, we'll see you next time.
Have a great day.
Bye.